This is Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello, Mike Huber.
And we are here to tell you a little bit about the PS4 version of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, rather than, re-reviewing a game when we don't have time to review another game right now.
Yeah, you got Need for Speed coming?
Yeah, so I did a review for Black Flag on the Xbox 360. You played some PS3 over the weekend, right?
Yeah, bunch of PS3, a little bit of PS4 in the office, and 360 as well.
Yeah, and then we went through. We basically got to the point where we can sail around on our own in the PS4 version. I would say first off that from anything that I've seen, like there's nothing that affects the experience like other than graphically. There's not like some kind of extra mechanic added because of physics or anything like that. It is really we kind of put it the other day as a pretty simple explanation of like going from like on a PC version from like a medium to a high setting.
The biggest difference for me, because I've been playing on the PS3 version, you didn't get a chance to play that much. I'm just really let down by it. It just chugs along.
You're talking frame rate, yeah?
Frame rate is terrible on PS3. When you get into a town like Havana and you're just running full speed, it chugs noticeably. Versus when you go off to like a really small island, it doesn't have as much going on, so then all of a sudden it's just this drastic frame rate improvement and you're, smoothly running around. So the biggest thing on PS4 to me, not only the graphics but the frame rate would be definite reason to, if you haven't waited already, definitely wait.
Yeah, I mean overall, like you're definitely seeing crisper textures, smoother shadows, things like that. But it's funny like when you're put into the situation of like, I've done like 98% of the game. Like I've done most of the side objectives in the 360 version, and then having to like go back and I'm basically now like. I know the game, so the only thing that's standing out to me is like I'm looking for these minuscule graphical differences, just trying to figure out what's different. The biggest thing is the vegetation.
Yes.
You really do like when you're walking through vegetation and stuff, it will respawn and move, and when you're in the stalking zones, rather than just being like this flat static mesh that you just kind of clip through, now you clip through it and it animates with like a little wave over top of you, and sometimes that looks kind of weird and fake, and other times it actually is pretty convincing.
Yeah. The best one was when I was in Havana and all of a sudden the rain started picking up, full-on thunderstorm, and all the leaves were just like blowing in the wind heavily, and it just looked really cool, and just like an extra layer of...
Yeah, and there's little effects like that. Like there's an extra like rain effect on the ground where you're, like you can see the rain splattering.
Your favorite one was the ship as well.
Yeah, I like when you crash through a wave, you'll see the water like wash over the deck. It's a nice extra little effect, but at the same time, like some of the changes are not necessarily what I would call improvements. There's like this oversaturation to like some of the swampy water and stuff like that, where it almost looks like it's metallic.
Yeah.
And then
what did you say about it? It was gold.
It looks like gold. Like in the mud on the ground also looks like it's made out of gold. And then I don't like the way that the sails flap. On the PS4. Like I feel like they're just too limp and loose, and it doesn't really seem like they're responding to like a lack of wind or anything. It's just they're just more flappy when they should be like taut and like pulling the boat along. Some things I noticed that were already there on the current gen version I just didn't pick up on before. I think it's because there's more clarity there.
Yeah.
So there's this weird thing. So when you're out on the water, like in the ocean, I mean, when you're in the ocean, the reflections and the shadows there, they're really impressive. Even on current gen, they're really impressive how much distortion and stuff happens in the waves. But for some reason, in freshwater, where it's basically just a flat surface, there's this pre-baked reflection.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't have anything to do with what's actually on the world. So I was like, I looked and like, I see a palm tree reflecting in the water, and there's no palm tree here at all. So that was just funny, and I went back and it was harder for me to spot on the current gen footage I gotten of the same area, but I found that same palm tree.
Meg pointed something out too when we came into a reef with the ship. On the current gen version, you couldn't see the crashed boats or the rocks in the water. You kind of just like plowed into the reef. But then on PS4, we noticed like the rocks under the water and like.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. I'd like to look at that a little bit more honestly, but. And then, there's a lot more smoke There's just like puff of smokes that come out of your pistols.
And the fog lays on the water.
Well, there was some fog already, but like when you start shooting off your cannons from the ship, like there's so much smoke that starts coming up, it actually gets to be a bit blinding, and you can't really see what you're shooting at. But some of the other things, like there's not really like a big improvement that I saw in like draw distance. There's still times when I'll come around a corner and I'll see like people like fade in, loading in as you're walking around. One of the things is, it's kind of funny, I feel like next gen always has this problem where like all of a sudden like you can make people shinier, so they do. You know, like in some situations it makes sense. In some situations it makes sense, but other times it's like, well, why are you so shiny, man? Yeah, I mean, obviously overall it's an improvement. It's just funny when you get to looking at these little things that are there.
It's like all the little small things.
Things start to pop out at you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't feel anyone that's playing current gen should feel bad about that.
Yeah, no.
You know, it's
not
like,
at all.
if you're getting a PS4, you know, it hasn't changed my opinion, really. It's like, if you're getting a PS4, or probably an Xbox One, which we haven't seen that version, but, you know, yeah, it's going to be better. Yeah. You probably would want to get that and play that on your new system and get some use out of your new system. And
also until they patch the PS3 version, because I've just having a ton of problems with it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's another issue, and you know, like I'll just kind of trust you on that because I haven't actually seen anything that looked that bad to me. But yeah, I think that, you know, current gen is probably fine if you just wanted to play the game and you are not ready to put out the $400 or $500. Earlier, I was a bit wrong. I said that like it was all graphical, there was nothing else. But it does actually use a couple other things with the PS4, like the touchscreen on the DualShock 4.
Yeah.
I don't know what made me think of it. Like, what happens if I push it? Like, does it actually work as a screen? And it does work on the map.
Yeah.
You can slide it around. You can even do the pinch thing. I found it easier to do the pinch if I just like held one thumb in place and then slid the other thumb back and forth, rather than trying to do both while I'm holding the controller.
Do you think it makes it easier, or?
Okay, so I noticed like the response time on the screen or pad really it's quicker than using an analog stick, but I still kind of feel that in some ways analog sticks are easier. Or maybe just whatever you're comfortable with. And then you saw that the second screen is on Vita?
Yeah, the Vita, and you know, Smart Glass obviously, and.
Well, I mean, they already have their own app that you can use with tablets, but that's cool though to find out that the Vita can be used as the companion app as well. And I saw some things about, I didn't get to actually test any of the Vita functions, but I saw that like as remote play, that like they smartly designed the controls so that like I think 2 of the triggers are actually using the back touch, and then the clicking in the sticks are actually on the front of the touchscreen somewhere as well.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so not huge advantages there, but at least some ways to get some functionality out of the PS4 feature.